The upward revisions to our GDP forecasts really reflect the fact that we have much stronger business confidence right now that should be translating eventually into higher business investment, and that's going to be very growth supportive. So we've lifted our growth forecast for the current year by 0.4 percentage points to 1.8%, and for next year, 2019, by 0.2 percentage points to 1.9%. It's better than where we were expecting the growth to be, but obviously it's still not good enough. And I think one of the big things that we need to see going forward is to have President Ramaphosa and his new executive team put in place the policies that will actually start to deliver us into growth rates of 2.5% and higher. That policy mix is going to be challenging for any government to introduce, but I think we're on the right track. Current metrics of business confidence show an improvement, but that businesses still, on balance, are pessimistic about current operating conditions. But there is a huge difference to how businesses feel about current conditions versus their expectations about the future. If you look at Absa's manufacturing survey for the first quarter, we had 63% of respondents in the manufacturing sector were still dissatisfied with current business conditions, but their expectations about conditions in 12 months' time soared dramatically, very significantly. We've never had as large a quarter-to-quarter move upward in that regard. And I think that that's what we're hearing generally, not just from manufacturers, but from all businesses, which is things are looking up. It's going to take time to actually start to see better operating conditions going forward, but they're very hopeful about the future. And that, I think, is key. It's the hope for the future that underpins higher investment spending that is actually going to expand the productive capacity of the economy ultimately. The Moody's rating decision to keep our rating unchanged at Baa3, but move the outlook from negative to stable, I think indicates, in Moody's view, that South Africa's credit story, the credit-worthiness picture, is starting to stabilize and ultimately could even improve. And I believe that South Africa has turned the corner. We've had a very significant political event last year. We narrowly made the right decision. The president and his new executive team are putting in place measures that will deliver better performance for the country, provided that they can be implemented quickly and efficiently. And so, yes, I think we're turning the corner, but I think it's also important to emphasize that progress doesn't happen overnight. We have challenges that are going to take a fair amount of time and a lot of effort to fix. But yes, I think we've bottomed. South Africa is clearly looking up under the new leadership, but there are still issues that don't have full answers yet. And here's the things that I think that Absa CIB clients should be monitoring over the coming year as a means of gauging how South Africa is doing. The first one is state-owned companies. There are some huge challenges facing state-owned companies that have macroeconomic implications for the country as a whole and have implications for specific businesses. Fixing SOCs is going to be difficult. We have a very good minister, but it's one of the issues for businesses to monitor as a metric for how South Africa generally is doing. The second issue is expropriation of land without compensation. There's a lot of very heated rhetoric on this particular issue. If it's done well, it could be growth positive. If it's done poorly, it could be very growth negative. We need to see the government managing the process of accelerated land redistribution in a way which is not damaging to the banks and is not damaging to food security. I think the president and his new executive team have a plan and that we could be pleasantly surprised on that front, but it remains to be seen and it's an issue worth monitoring. The third area to pay close attention to, South Africa Revenue Services. We've had a huge hit to the budget from falling tax receipts, but we now have new leadership at SARS. Watch to see how tax collections do going forward under the new, more optimistic environment where taxpayers, corporate and individual, might be more willing to pay into SARS. And then the final issue, which I think is really one for businesses as well. Everyone's going to have to work together to realize the new hope, the fresh hope for South Africa. And it's the issue of 1 million paid internships created by businesses to try and make some headroads into our unemployment problem. Businesses are going to have to engage with this challenge and really come forward as a means of trying to solve some of our poverty and unemployment challenges going forward. And I'm very curious to see what kinds of programs businesses come up with to provide meaningful internships to candidates so that when the internship ends, we can have a better employment picture, a better labour market, a more vibrant growth path.